Good evening. I hope it's a bit windier than it was the other night. I've chosen the same position but on a different angle, so hopefully it's going to work. I don't have the city view in front of me or behind me tonight either. It's kind of over that way, so I apologise in advance. Now, I was at the school the other day and, since I've been back from, Sydney and from the retreat at the Gold Coast, I've been speaking to a lot of mums. And I'm hoping that sound is working. Yeah, okay. I've been speaking to a lot of mums, and a lot of them have said, oh my goodness, you've been away for so long. Well, like a week, and then I was home for a day, and then, 6 days, and then I was home for 5, and then I was away for another 4. It really wasn't that long, but I've had a lot of people comment to messages coming through. I've had a lot of people comment to me that oh, you've been away, how do you do that, how could you possibly do that, and I've gone, well, if you're wanting to do something that's for you, then why wouldn't you want to? And they've gone, oh, we'd love to do something like what you're doing, with coaching and you're sort of working your own hours and all that sort of jazz, but we couldn't possibly do that because we might lose our jobs. And I've gone, okay, well, that's cool. What would happen if what's the worst that could happen if you decided to take a jump and do something that you really wanted to do? And they said, oh, well, I might not have income if I quit my job, or I might not have the reputation that people think that I've got this great job, or I might not have the respect from my kids. That was another one that came up. I was shocked, actually. I might not have the respect of my kids. This wind is insane. If they don't think that I've got a proper 9-to-5 job. And I said, okay, so when you're looking at all of that, it's the fear of rejection from your kids, it's the fear of not having an income, and it's the fear of not being able to fulfill the expectations to which perhaps society has given you to fulfill, right? That's interesting. Fear is a very, very interesting one. I find fear very interesting because I've been through a lot of fear myself. I still have it every now and then. It pops up, and I find it very interesting because it's one of those things that you need to learn how to control. You need to not let fear control you, but you need to actually leverage it to your advantage so that you can actually milk it for everything that it's worth. So in saying that, there are 3 different types of fear, right? So we have instinctive fear, which is going to happen. If you cut yourself, you're going to fear that you've cut yourself, obviously, because it's important for survival. It's just going to happen. If you hurt yourself, you're going to have fear because you've hurt yourself, right? Okay, the second one is learned fear. So we learn fear through experiences or through things people have told us. So for example, if you were 4 years old and you were in the ocean and you went under and you had that experience where you were struggling to breathe or struggling to get out, and you perhaps thought you were going to drown, as an adult or as a teenager or as an older child, you would absolutely have a fear. Well, not necessarily, not everyone would, but you could absolutely have a fear of drowning, have a fear of the ocean, have a fear of being swept under the water again, and that's completely normal. The other type of fear is taught fear. So this is where cultural norms dictate what it is that you should be or shouldn't be afraid of. This is where I guess a lot of minorities perhaps come into play, where, without pointing out specific ones that are in my brain right now, where news sources or where media are telling you that this is what you should be afraid of and this is why you should be afraid of them, without actually having your own judgment and without actually going and looking at that yourself. You are fearful of that because that is what you are being taught, right? Okay, so the more fearful you are, the more you are fearing something, obviously the scarier it's going to feel for you. Okay, now within that, there are 4 things you can do when you have fear, right? There's freeze. So for example, your boss comes around to your table and says, oh, here's a memo, we're laying people off, don't know whether you're going to be one of them yet, but you could potentially be. And what happens when you freeze is that you get stuck in this situation where you're like, oh my god, it could be me, it could not be me, what if it's me, or what if it's not me? And you are frozen, you are completely engrossed in that fear, and there is really not much you can do to get out of it because you are literally frozen. The other one is fight. Obviously, under the same scenario, if you got that memo, you could, drop a letter to your boss. Oh, is that lighting better? It is. You could drop a letter to your boss and you could say, look, these are the reasons why I should be here. These are the reasons why you shouldn't fire me. Even if you don't know whether you're being fired or not, you could absolutely fight it. Your third one is flight, whereby you just go, well, screw you. I don't care what the outcome of this memo is, whether I'm going to get fired or not. I'm going to look for another job. That's fine. You can flee or fly, whatever you want to do. Now the fourth one, which is actually the one that I most of my life have been stuck in, is when you get a fright. So when the fear is so significantly overwhelming that it literally scares you to your core, and instead of fighting it, or instead of fleeing from it, or instead of just freezing, you obsess, you become compulsive about it, you stress about it, and you make yourself internally sick. That is the one that I believe, in my experience, is the most damaging, because it's in your head. There's a lot that goes on in your head that even a lot of people find hard to explain. And whilst it's sitting in your head, it's, spreading disease and everything else through every cell of your body. It's negative and it's awful and it's engrossing. Okay, so on this note, it is important to know that fear can be as much an ally to you as it can be a negative thing that you don't really want to deal with. The key to fear is that you need to learn how to leverage it. Okay, so that was a really long introduction, but now I'm getting into my golden points of how it is that you leverage that fear, because with the right leverage and using fear to your advantage, it can actually be your most ultimate motivator in life. Okay, so tip number 1. You need to determine if your goal is a must. If you've got a goal that is a so-so goal and it's not really something that you want to achieve, then you can't really go anywhere with that, okay? So for example, if you've got a 9-to-5 job and you want to get out of that job, you know that quitting tomorrow, the chance is that you are not going to have, quitting tomorrow and starting, I don't know, let's take coaching. Oh, it's a ferry. Let's take coaching as an example, right? So say you quit your 9-to-5 job and you go, I'm going to go and become a coach. There is going to be a period of time there where you are obviously, if you've just quit your job and you may not have annual leave standing by, you may not have savings, there is obviously going to be a period where you are not going to have that income that you're used to. There's going to be a period of adjustment. There's going to be a period where you are fearful all the time. Now the key to that is that you need to know that what you are doing is a must, and you need to be willing to forego the short-term pain for the longer-term gain. Okay, that is how you use fear to your advantage. You need to go, okay, yep, this sucks right now, but 6 months down the track, 12 months down the track, 18 months down the track, when I'm sitting, in Tuscany sending emails to whomever I need to send emails to, coaching whomever I need to, that is worth the 6 months of having little to no income, or having to struggle to make ends meet, or having to sell some stuff. Okay, your second one is that you need to recognize the excuses. You need to recognize the excuses you're telling yourself. So the I can't do this, oh my god, no, that's too hard, oh, what will people think of me? You need to recognize those excuses and and you need to push through them. So it doesn't matter how you do that. You can go through the excuses, you can go around the excuses, go under the excuses, go over the excuses. What's that? There's going on a bear hunt, you know, you go through, you go over, you go under, kind of like that. It doesn't matter how you get through the excuses, but every time you get through one, it's easier to get through the next one, right? Okay. Your third one is that you need to adopt a growth mindset. So as a person with your behaviors, you need to be flexible. You can't say, this is how I'm going to do it, and if it fails, that's it, because that's not going to get you anywhere. You are not going to grow without being able to be flexible with your behaviors, and being able to be flexible with, you know, what you're offering up to the world. You need to use failure as ammunition to come back bigger and stronger and better, and not let it affect you, right? Okay, number 4, pain. This is not a nice one, but pain inadvertently brings valuable insight. So if you get burned, what happens? You know, what happens with, what is that bird? I'm sure it's on Harry Potter. I can't, listen to me, I'm coming up with all these amazing things, I can't even remember where they're from. You know, it's, if you get burned, you're going to come back, obviously, because you've got more ammunition to come back. And the most painful experience refine us. So they tell us what we are and what we are not, and they, I guess, in a way, funnel us to where we actually need to be. Okay, and tip number 5 is that know that failure is going to be inevitable, right? So as much as you'd like to think that going through life, you're never going to fail at anything, I can tell you right now, I have failed at more in the last month than I have probably failed at in my whole life, okay? And it sucks. Phoenix, thank you, Michelle. Yes, it's a phoenix, the bird that comes back from the ashes, right? I'm sure that's on Harry Potter. Maybe it's just not. That's okay. It's a phoenix. Yay! By failing and by being able to pick yourself up faster than anybody else, you have the advantage. You are the one that will get to the end and will have dealt with all these amazing pitfalls. I know it sounds weird to say amazing pitfalls, but the more you fail, the more you grow. The more you grow, the further you'll go. Oh my God, is that Dr. Seuss? It's just coming out tonight. Sorry, guys. Now, society's view on fear is most definitely negative, okay? As soon as you fear something, it's like run away, okay? What you need to do is you need to use the idea of fear and the idea of leverage to your advantage. You need to leverage the fear. You need to take the fear, you need to scrunch it up into a little ball, and you need to throw it as far away as you can, okay? That's a negative fear. And what you need to do is you need to take those tips and you need to use them to your advantage, because every single one of them can be used every single day. And we all know that, you know, bettering yourself and being able to leverage fear, what that is going to, what that is going to do is it's going to be able to make you grow. You are going to be able to grow with that, and you're going to be able to help so many other people in this world as well. Imagine what you could do if instead of being scared and running away, you took your fear and you used it to your advantage. There's absolutely nothing that you couldn't achieve without it, right? I have reduced my notes tonight, just as a side note, to one teeny tiny A5 page. I have gone from somebody who only 3 weeks ago was literally writing pages and pages and pages to do lives, okay? And the whole way here, I was like, there is no fear. You are not going to forget what you're going to say. It is all going to go smoothly, right? There is no fear, because I've leveraged it. I've gone, you know what? Screw you, fear. Here I am. I'm doing it. And I've got this down pat. Even if the wind's mental and my nose is sniffly, that's okay. So, what I need you all to remember tonight is that, where is it? I am, you are, we all are, number 1. We're awesome. And we no longer let fear control us, right? All right, I'll speak to you guys soon. Love you loads. Bye.